Oh, all right. Speaker, where you there? I'm live. Where are the people them?
Thing that said, take a look at what happened.
Bombo clad. Bombo. People were on the day. Mirrors. They shoot off a Donald Trump. Breaking news for the people them there.
Who's there? Hold. When you're ready, on you. Ready. Move. Up. Move. Go. You ready? We're good. Shooters down. Are we good to move? Let's move. We're clear. Let me get my shoes. I got you, sir. Let me get my shoes, sir. Hold up, your guys' blood. So we gotta move to the car. Watch out. Wait.
Holy fuck! For the people them there. Where the people them there, then just shoot off a Trump. Holy fuck! No, sir. Hold on there. Yeah, man. Holy fuck.
Thing that said, take a look at what happened.
Look!
Who's there? Hold. When you're ready, on you. Ready. Move. Up. Move. Go. You ready? We're good. Shooter's down. Are we good to move? Let's move. Let's move. We're clear. Come on. Let me get my shoes. I got you, sir. Let me get my shoes, sir. Hold up, your head is bloody. So we gotta go to the club. Watch out. Wait.
Oh my God. Then just shoot off a Donald Trump. Go up on the news. I'm bringing it live. Oh yes. Then I couldn't who then? No assassin him like a Martin Luther King. All right, I'll talk to you.
Honestly, it was so unbelievable. This was like
and saying, let me grab my shoes as they try to take them off. So we're just trying to figure out what happened.
No, sir. Hold on, the people. Hold on, the people. Hold on.
Our country, probably 20 million people. And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
girls, what they going? What they going?
Moving spare. Hold. When you're ready. On you. Ready. Move. Move. Go.
They're blocking my live though. They're blocking my live.
Country,
The beginning there.
probably 20 million people. And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Moving spare. Hold. When you're ready. On you. Ready. Move. Move. Go. You ready? Good.
Our country, probably 20 million people. And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Moving spare. Hold. When you're ready. On you. Ready. Move. Move. Go. You ready? Good. Shooters down. Are we good to move?
Hold on there, guys. Let me set myself good.
Let me get my shoes. I got you. Let me get my shoes. Hold up. You're good.
They run off all their shoes for us. They run off all their shoes.
Watch out.
Hold on there, guys. They just shoot after Donald Trump. Yes, they just shoot after him. See here.
Our country, probably 20 million people. And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
I can't plug it in that fast.
Moving spare. Hold. When you're ready. On you. Ready. Move. Move. Go. You ready?
At 78.29. Check out the cheese puffs and the bread.
Good. Shooters down. Are we good to move? Let's go. Let me get my shoes. Got you, sir. I got you.
Let me get my shoes.
Hold up. You're ready.
So we're gonna move to the
Somebody's bleeding.
Be the case. I'm no expert on this, but it sounded like a small caliber weapon.
Somebody
of some
is
sort.
bleeding though.
Initially, I thought it might be fireworks or something, but then the succession of the shot, I think it was clearly a weapon, a firearm. And as I said, I couldn't tell whether it was one or two, but clearly this was, from my vantage point, someone who was there. It seemed very much an attack directed at the president.
Come here.
A very scary moment.
Sir, can you tell us again about the person you saw who was injured or wounded? Again, man or woman, and what sort of condition did you notice they were in?
It was hard to tell. A number of people sitting around this person. It looked like a man. It was a large person. A number of people sitting around it started to administer first aid, and it looked like he had shirts wrapped around him to try to stem the bleeding. And then some police officers came in and carried him out of the stand, and all of that took a couple minutes. So I was sort of focused on that because it was to my back. Whether there were other people wounded or not, I couldn't tell. Of course, it was an enormous crowd, and the way it was set up, the president was on a podium, but there was a crowd behind him, and he was 360 around him. So once the shots happened, it became. It wasn't panic. People didn't panic, but it was very chaotic, and everybody went down to the ground. Everybody was laying on the ground because we weren't sure the shooting was done.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you a question. Choose to answer it the way you like.
Guys, listen in the meantime. I'm going to put it on the TV.
Right now.
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. I think so. I mean, again, the facts will come out, and I always am careful when you're in the middle of a crisis. You don't want to draw too many conclusions, but it felt to me like he's very lucky to be alive, and I hope others who were injured are going to survive this. It was a very scary moment.
Sir, thank you for your time. David McCormick is a Republican. He's running for the Senate seat in Pennsylvania, and he was there, front row, for that incident today. Sir, thank you again for your eyewitness account.
And we want to check in with Lucas Tomlinson. He's with the president in Rehoboth Beach in Delaware. And Lucas, you've gotten a readout that President Biden has been briefed. Anything more from your location?
That's right. Shall I just read from that readout that a White House official just sent out that President Biden has been briefed. These are the officials. His director of the United States Secret Service, Alejandro Mayorkas, of course, the DHS chief, and Liz Sherwood Randall, assistant to the president and Homeland Security advisor. And the following members of President Biden's team participated in that briefing, Shannon. Jeff Zients, of course, the president's chief of staff, Steve Ricchetti, assistant to the president, counselor of the president, and Annie Tomasinini, which is the assistant and deputy chief of staff. President Biden was attending mass just a few blocks from here, Shannon, when that incident and the reports of shots were fired at former President Donald Trump's rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, about an hour north of Pittsburgh. The president, it did not appear he was rushed out of that service. He left at the appointed time. A member of the press pool that is signed with the president asked him if he had been briefed on the situation or had any comment. President Biden said no. He returned to his house in Rehoboth Beach. That's where he is now. The pool is holding outside his residence. We're awaiting a statement from the president, either on paper or if the president will make remarks later tonight, Shannon.
All right, Lucas Tomlinson with the president. We'll check back with you, Lucas. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucas. Want to bring in Nicole Parker, former FBI special agent now. And Nicole, you've been watching the coverage. Just give us your top line thought at this hour.
Top line thought, Secret Service, they are the heroes today. The Secret Service, anytime there's a former president traveling, they typically have a counter-assault team that's paired with a local SWAT team. So the counter-assault team typically consists of about 4 to 6 special agents. They travel with the former president depending on threat. We all know that President Trump has many, many threats that are probably coming at him on a daily basis. Obviously, Secret Service, they immediately shield the president or former president, and then they, the SWAT teams come in, they're working with local law enforcement, federal law enforcement, and they will hold the scene. And again, like has been mentioned by other guests, the FBI will arrive on the scene, and then the FBI will conduct the investigation. They'll collaborate their efforts with the Secret Service. We all know that President Trump thank goodness, right now is known to be okay. And so that is the Secret Service's first priority. Obviously, Reagan was the last president that was shot. This is very, very tragic for our country. Regardless of where one stands on the political spectrum, taking out your anger with violence is unacceptable.
Unacceptable!
And, you know, they got him out of the scene, thank goodness. But this could have ended very, very differently. And I've heard other
Oh my God! I wonder who got shot.
Express that enough. I have a very dear friend who was shot in the head, an FBI special agent, and she is not with us any longer. So this could have, you know, just even inches over. This could have, you know, if it was indeed a gun, which I'm sure that we all agree and understand that it likely was shots fired, this could have ended very differently. I think it's important to look from an investigative standpoint. Who did this? Whoever did this likely has revealed themselves as a threat in the past. Okay, the Secret Service is constantly looking into people of, you know, potential threats. I believe, again, without knowing anything, just preliminarily, this person was likely of record. Okay, there's protective intelligence teams. That's all they do. They work cases of any threats whatsoever that are directed at the current president, former president, and that is their job. So they likely, you know, yes?
Yeah. If I may, I know you're FBI, not Secret Service.
Yes.
But trying to explain to people at home, even us for that matter, as we sit here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, I can tell you it's a Saturday night in Shannon, you know, the streets are closed. It's hard to get around already, and the event is still 2 days away. That's the world in which we live now. How then, Nicole, do you keep an environment safe when you have 10, 20, 30,000 people in a field with 360-degree views all around a person you are trying to protect?
That is extremely, extremely difficult. And I have to say that President Trump is extremely brave to do these rallies because it is, you know, we look at the shooting in Las Vegas. There was someone that was in a hotel room firing from way far off in a distance, nowhere even near where that concert occurred, if we all recall that awful mass shooting in Las Vegas. Again, this could have ended very, very differently. But, you know, everyone's all hands on deck. And like we said, the Secret Service goes in before, because I've worked with Secret Service, I've done events with them. They go in and they sweep the entire facility before, you know, a former president is coming in. I guarantee that
what
area
was
swept. It was looked into. Everyone had to, you know, go through metal detectors. That's something for the FBI to look into and to investigate. But you're right. It's a very difficult task for law enforcement to do.
Yes.
But again, it speaks to how strong President Trump is. He is so determined in his message that he's willing to do these rallies. He is a warrior.
Nicole Parker, thank you, former FBI. Thank you for being with us. We'll check back in later. Shannon.
Yeah, Bill, we want to bring in our colleague, Martha McCallum. Martha, your reaction as we are getting information that the former president seems to be okay, but what a shock to the system for Americans watching this play out this afternoon.
Hello, Shannon, and what a shock indeed. I mean, this is an incredible, awful event that we are watching playing out. When you see the former president of the United States with blood around his ear, and the details of all of this, we're still really waiting to find out what happened. We all hear those initial pop, 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 and then a second round of gunfire that may have come from Secret Service. We don't know the status of where this shooter was sitting, where they were positioned, but it appeared when the president clutched his ear, hears as if something is coming from behind him. And I looked really closely at the scene behind him. The people that you can see, at least, in the bleachers behind him, do not appear to all turn and look at one place of where this might have been coming from. So, you know, this is video that needs to be looked at, obviously, frame by frame to figure this out. But the only good news right now is that the former president, by his own campaign's contention, is fine. And thank God he's fine. We have to hear more about these others who are wounded. Is one of these wounded? The person who started this incident as it's being called, and we have to nail down exactly what happened here. But these images that are on the screen right now, blue sky behind the former president, blood on his face, his fist in the air. This is an incredibly resilient and tough guy. He wanted to get his shoes before he went back down the stairs. This is an incredible development in what has already been several weeks of tumultuous campaign season that we are watching unfold right now. These are very, very edgy and difficult and unsettling times in America, Shannon.
Yeah, and Bill, I know you want to jump into, but I want to let you know, Martha, we have a lot of reaction from across the political spectrum. Everybody denouncing this to a one. But we're hearing from former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, who obviously is one of the most well-known surviving victims of one of these attacks. She says, political violence is terrifying, I know. I'm holding former President Trump and all those affected by today's indefensible act of violence in my heart. Political violence is un-American and is never acceptable. Never. Martha?
Well, she knows that firsthand, and she suffers from it every day. What happened to her was horrific. And, you know, we have a lot of talk in the country about political violence on all sides and the concerns about it, but we haven't seen something quite like this in quite a long time. You know, you think of RFK, who was shot while he was campaigning in California.
Why the
and
TV
he was
too big? We
killed
can't even get you
by an
right.
assassin's bullet. It is these people who stand up to run for president of the United States. They put their safety on the line every day, and these Secret Service heroes who surround him. I mean, think of this image.
Simpson, you is not a Trumper. Go away. What you mean in Fox News? Which other news gonna give it to me
I
best?
heard you speak about this earlier, Shannon and Bill.
Simpson, you're too bad.
We have an incredible team of people who
Simpson, what you mean Fox
presidents
News?
and presidential candidates in this country, and we need to be very grateful for them. And I would just stress that we're still waiting to learn the details about exactly what happened here and where this person who started this incident is right now. And that is the story of this evening. And I do expect, as I heard Bill say earlier,
I'm Fox me one.
Tonight, so we will stay tuned for that as well, guys.
Thank you, Martha. Martha McCallum joining us as our coverage continues live here in Milwaukee. And Shannon, just want to bring out, there's a lot of information out there from the Butler County, Pennsylvania DA. And he apparently, his name is Goldinger, Goldinger, and apparently he's speaking with a number of members of the press. None of this has been confirmed, so I just want to walk cautiously with it. But listening to David McCormick describe that man who was seated near him being carried out with numerous tourniquets on his body, there were casualties. As to whether or not there were fatalities, we hope and pray that's not the case. We can't confirm that right now, but there certainly were others who were injured. How many, we can't say either. But when we look at that video, it appears, Shannon, you know, he grabs his right ear before you hear a sound. And then after that, there was a repeated sound over and again. In addition to that, you have, in all likelihood, what would be the Secret Service returning fire, and that's why we have that quote that we have used now, shooter is down. So we'll wait for an update out of Butler, but we just want to bring you some of that now.
We're just getting something coming in from the Associated Press here. This is to the AP. They say the shooter is dead and a rally attendee was killed at the Trump event in Pennsylvania. They say the Butler County District Attorney is telling them that. That's according to the Associated Press. The shooter dead and someone also who was attending that rally. That's the latest from
Oh my God, somebody died
Richard
too.
Goldinger, it's just coming up right now.
Two persons died, the one who was to the shooting.
I killed the shooter dead, another person said to be in serious condition, and we'll wait for more information on the condition for that purpose. Katie Pavlis joins us now. She spoke to the U.S. ambassador who was also at that rally. Katie, where are you, and what have you learned for us?
Well, I had a phone call with former Ambassador Kip Tom, who was in the front row at this rally, sitting very close to Senate candidate David McCormick. And the first thing he said to me was, I never thought this would happen again. He then went into details about what he saw. He said he saw gun smoke and bullets flying from multiple directions. And that's what we've heard from a number of people tonight, given their first eyewitness testimony being
really? The one where the blood come from?
Opinion that the president was lucky to be
but they
alive.
say one somebody dead anyhow.
Senate candidate Dave McCormick also told you guys earlier about the current situation. So I'm sure we will hear from the president. We are 2 days from the RNC convention. He has every intention of moving forward and showing up there. It's pretty incredible to watch him walk off that stage.
Oh, Trump get blood
shouting,
on him.
Fight, fight, fight. And I'm looking forward to
Simpson,
hearing
how
what he
blood?
has to
Oh,
say
Trump get
about
blood.
this
But
historic
you alone
moment
can't
that
tell
we're
me.
watching. We always have a front row seat to history. This is a terrible day for the country and the current situation that we're in.
Katie, thank you for that. Katie Pavlich joining us from Washington, D.C. And we'll see you in Milwaukee a bit later in the week. Shannon?
Yeah, let's
he wasn't shot. Someone know where blood come from him. Then share one of the ears.
Or maybe more with her.
One of the ears dead. So that means half of the ear the blood come from.
Yeah, so we were able to get out of that area after they turned it
into
the
hell Trump have blood on him.
And Bill, and we were able to talk with some people who heard what we heard too. Those several pops as they all took cover here in Butler, Pennsylvania. I'm going to take you closer here to who we're talking to. So you guys are, in shock. One, you can't leave because they've closed down the roads. And two, you're still trying to figure out exactly what happened. What did you hear when you were inside of that rally?
I heard about 7 or 8 shots. She's better at this than me. Her do the talking.
What did you do as soon as you heard that? Did you try to get down?
No, I did not. I stood up and tried to film it, but it didn't work very good. They're the ones that hit the ground.
Okay. So walk me through, too, what you...
I would have taken a shot for me.
What you heard. I mean, you were pretty close, or where were you?
We were right behind where the chairs were at. And we started hearing, I thought it was firecrackers. I'm like, who would be shooting off firecrackers in here? Well, then somebody started yelling, hit the ground, hit the ground. And when I looked over, then I saw the smoke from the gunfire. So then everybody hit the ground, and he kept standing. I was like,
Princess, they almost killed Papa Trump. You're over here talking about blue right now.
So then...
come on, man. You can't be such an hater.
We saw different places where the gunshots
Everybody life matters. Everybody life matters,
Trump
people.
down, Secret Service did, and they took him out of there and got him off of the stage. And he was bleeding. And so then my son and daughter-in-law was back behind us, back behind the fence. And we was worried about them. We couldn't call them. And so we started trying to go after them then when they finally let us up. And they had been right by the fence.
Why? You see Simpson, man. You see Simpson. Look how Simpson go start riot from the page now. Look how Simpson they go start riot over here.
Attorney's office saying the shooter dead and a rally attendee killed. So this is all still developing out here. But to hear those numerous pops and then to have so many people in that crowd try to take cover there, people were, trying to get out of there as quickly as they could. To see the former president down on the ground, to come back up, to see some blood possibly on his ear, but then leave with a fist pump. People were pretty emotional. You think about all this, right? When you go into these events,
well, I mean, I understand what they want. Where the blood come from? How Trump signed the way to go put some fist pump.
When you're going to a big rally like this, and people were excited to be out here. They were here for hours, just trying to get a glimpse of the former president. That includes you as well. So just tell me a little bit about what you heard.
Just heard pop, pop, pop. Right away you think, well, maybe firecrackers, and you're kind of stunned. And then fire, and then return fire, and then get down. So we got
no,
we huddled,
no, Simpson, no.
That laid on top of me. She was crying. I said, it's gonna be okay, honey. We just prayed, and then after a little while, we could see Trump get up, and he gave the, I'm okay, and so then we got up, as a true leader.
Come on, Simpson, man, come on.
Yell to the Secret Service members saying, "Let me get my shoes." I mean, he wanted to walk away.
There he is leading us, it's okay. You know what I mean? It gives you goosebumps.
Were you afraid for your safety?
No.
After when I heard the get down, then I realized, for sure it was for sure shots. But when we started to pray, I felt protected, and I just want to give God all the glory. God gets all the glory.
Protected,
and people were protected. I'm sorry about a fatality. I'm sorry. I pray God comforts those people. We've been praying the whole time since it happened for anybody involved.
Did you see any blood on the former president when he got back up?
I talked to ABC News, and they just said that there was. ABC News said there was someone in his ear, but they said that could have been from secrets. That may not have been his blood, and it may have been from Secret Service getting him down.
Okay, thank you for talking to us. I'm glad that you're okay. Thank you. So we're just going to walk you a little bit over here, just to kind of see what the scene is going on here. This is where everybody was lining up, okay, before they went in. We're talking like 8 hours in the hot sun out here in Butler County, where these people wanted to catch a glimpse of the president. They were out here buying hats and doing everything they could to kind of get ready for the day. He was up there only for a few minutes, the former president, before this shooting happened. We were in the media area, and when we heard those pops, you kind of look around, you try to get your bearings and figure out what's going on. Then you saw the Secret Service really swoop in there and get into action quickly. The former president down on the ground behind that podium. We were talking with some law enforcement out here as well when they were trying to figure out what was happening. They were trying to survey, Bill, where
Why,
these possible
Simpson, you're not tan good at all.
were coming from.
Simpson, you're not tan
we talked
good.
to was out here on the ground with law enforcement, said it sounded like there was a silencer, and that's why people were wondering really what it was, because you couldn't hear it. It was like muffled, and so that's why they moved in so quickly and tried to do everything that they could to make sure the president was okay.
All right, Alexis McAdams on the scene.
So just stay with us if you want. Do you want to hear from anybody else?
Sure, Alexis, if you are ready to go.
If you want to. I know you guys are in rolling coverage. We just might as well. We're trying to grab as many people as they're walking out.
Yes,
but you were
absolutely.
Inside, and just kind of tell me what you heard.
He tells it better than I do.
Okay, we're now.
Well, we were basically standing. There was a Trump campaign people at the tent right there on the corner, and we kind of went all together towards where he was speaking, as close as you could get, and one of the kids was really tall, so my wife's like, hey, can you take this, and get me a picture of him real close. And next thing you know, as soon as he pointed the camera, all hell broke loose.
Walk me through how many shots or pops, rather, you heard and what you were thinking. I mean, were you afraid for your safety? You're here with your family?
I just wanted everybody to be calm and don't panic, because they're not aiming for us, you know what I mean? So,
do you ever think, you came to this big rally, I think you think about
birthday, my wedding anniversary.
Okay.
And it just seems odd.
Yeah, well, to know though that there's that many people waiting here, and they did check everybody. I mean, did you think the service, the Secret Service did a good job?
I have court order. I have a court order. I will tell you about it later. I'm not going to talk about it right now. I'm watching Trump.
We got today.
I have a court order. So I'm watching Trump. So all of you want to speculate and all talk about it, go ahead. But I'm watching Trump right now. I'm not talking about me right now.
When you saw him hit the ground.
At first, I didn't see him hit the ground. I just was mainly trying to get people not to panic and overrun each other. I mean, in a situation like that, everybody just wanted to.
I have court order to stay put.
Quickly? I mean, there were a lot of
people.
We'll
hear about it later.
Yeah, I wasn't worried about getting out quickly. I just wanted the people around me to be safe. I mean, that's all you can hope for. And
knowing how much is going on in the world, and when it comes to politics, I mean, it's like you can't even, people will get mad at their neighbors, they get mad, they lose friends over politics. Did you ever worry about kind of coming to these rallies and being unsafe?
This is my first rally, so, I mean, what an experience before everything happened. But, I mean, people are going to do what people do, man.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's what we're hearing out here. Thanks for talking to us. We'll send it back to you.
Alexis, thank you very much.
Really great stuff, Alexis. Thank you. We'll get back to you in a moment here. There was a lot of reaction coming in, Shannon. We just want to rifle through a little bit of what we're picking out. Robert Kennedy Jr., who's running his own campaign for the White House in the summer of 2024, sent out this on X a moment ago. Remember, this is a young man at the time when his own father was shot and killed in Los Angeles in 1968. He said, now is the time for every American who loves our country to step back from the division, renounce all violence, and unite in prayer for President Trump and his family.
That is
in
true.
addition, former President George Bush, 43,
forget about Trump is ball and all of that. Forget about that.
Cowardly attack on his life.
This is when we come together
Trump
as one.
And Stephen Chung, who is in all likelihood traveling with the president, was with him there today in Butler, Pennsylvania. Quote, he says on X, President Trump thanks law enforcement and first responders for their quick action during this heinous act. He is fine and is being checked out at a local medical facility. More details will follow. We'll try and get more reaction as we move through the evening here. There is, Shannon, as we go, there's a lot of information flying out there. A lot of it's on social media.
Yeah,
we're trying to parse what we think we can report now and what we can't. There is a video out there that shows an individual lying on a rooftop and not moving. The suggestion is that could have been the gunman. We have no confirmation of that. But if that was from a certain distance away, a person with a firearm, with a long-range rifle would have been able to reach that stage fairly easily from that location. So we'll wait for more information from authorities, and we'll be patient as we go.
Yeah, we will. And we do know from local authorities there on the ground are telling the Associated Press that the shooter is down, that another attendee was killed. There are others, at least one other, we believe, in critical condition. We're also hearing from the former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, who has walked through this political violence with her own family, her own husband attacked in their home out in California. She says is one whose family has been the victim of political violence. I know firsthand that political violence.
Look for the people that must sit down behind him or around him. They don't even move. Is this even real? Is this even real? Look for the people that must sit down. They not even get down. Oh my God!
Are still first responders who are now in the middle of this investigation.
No, sir.
But again, across the political spectrum, we're hearing with a uniform voice Bill denouncing what has happened today. And as we learn a little bit more about it, we do know the former president is doing just fine.
Okay, we're going to hear from a lot of people as we go throughout the evening. We're just at the very beginning of what will be a significant American story. Paul Morrill joins us, former NYPD inspector. And Paul, welcome to our coverage. Your observations based on your own experience.
Well, first of all, if the reporting is accurate and we do have a victim that has succumbed to his or her wounds, that's just so tragic here. It looked for a while there that the only
read back my comment from earlier. Why me can't even move me on right now?
If the incident is indeed over, starts the backwards scrub, right? You got to figure out how this person was able to do what he or she did.
Earlier.
If they did it from inside the perimeter, how that happened. We are getting some reporting, Bill, as you've mentioned, that it looks like it came from outside, might have involved a long gun. So they're going to look at, okay, were those situations secured and why not? But then there's going to be a deeper scrub and a simultaneous investigation here. And that is, did this person leave a footprint? And I'm guard against looking on social media and taking viral reporting as accurate. We don't know yet. And as I mentioned earlier, you have to be very circumspect with this stuff.
Them put blood
on him. This kind of thing do leave a pretty good footprint. And we need an investigation into how that happened. Let me go even further. That investigation
because we don't understand. Look for the people them behind him. Look for the people that watch the people them. Nobody now move. They don't get down nothing at all. Watch this. Watch this.
That a lot of these groups, Antifa and some of the groups that have been occupying the campuses, etc., who appear to be quite radical, we need federal investigations, of collusive investigations to take them out and figure out why they're doing.
Look at the people them behind him. Look at the people them. Don't you think if he got shot or shot fire, they should have been down? They don't move. They don't sit the kid up. You know what,
That has to be transparent.
There's
enough distrust on both sides. And
watch the people them
with this thing and what's gonna be going on going forward.
Me would have lid on flat.
Indeed. Paul, thank you. Stand by. We'll get more momentarily. But
me would have lid on flat. You know what,
We do. John David Longo is the mayor of Slippery Rock, Pennsylvania. Mayor, we understand you were at the rally. Thank you for joining us. What can you tell us from being there on the scene? Mayor, are you there?
Wow, that's a shame. Okay, so
we'll get back to him.
We had his shot and we lost it. We'll do our best to try and make a connection with him yet again. Paul, one of the things that we were talking about earlier was how you are able to corral 10, 20, 30,000 people into an area and keep it safe. Paul, hold that thought. The mayor is back now. John David Longo, if you can hear us, you were there. Please relay your experience as you saw.
Watch that one day. Watch that one day with your finger. Watch that one day. Me rough, yeah.
Okay, we are 0 for 2 on our attempts at that. Paul, how do you keep a place like this secure?
Watch that one day with your finger.
Go back 8 years, Paul.
Watch that.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's,
they might give them the birdie.
Difficult. You know, Alexis was talking about the fact that they did do wanding, which is generally very helpful and has a prophylactic effect. People see that, and so they say, you know what, I can't come in with anything if they ever had a desire to. But the truth of the matter is that when you have an open air situation where you have so many people in place, etc., it is hopeful, all right? And there are weapons these days that can even defeat wanding. I'm not telling the audience anything they
watch
don't
them
know.
the one day before they get done. Watch them.
Is going to be very
tell me if
telling.
this
I can
real.
tell you that here in New York City, the NYPD is deploying heavy units
why they not get down?
Trump Tower to make sure there isn't some copycat
shot fire
stuff.
and everybody
And
stand up.
Maybe even response stuff. You know, people on the other side going to feel vengeful. So we have to dial it back. Everybody has to be cool-headed, and we have to find out exactly what happened here. But you know, before we start placing blame, etc., you have to say to yourself, we need to know with clarity, because that's how the conspiracy theories start. And we've had enough of those.
Paul, thank you. We've got a statement now from the former president, Barack Obama. It reads this way: there is absolutely no place for political violence in our democracy.
Simpson,
we don't yet know
I have
exactly
court orders. I
be
can't be
relieved.
there.
Former President Trump was not
I can't be
hurt,
500 feet from some of them.
To recommit ourselves to civility and respect in our politics. Michelle
There's
and I are
3 of
wishing
them
him a
that
quick
is there,
recovery.
and I cannot be there because I can't be 500 feet. So I'll tell you the story, but not right now.
Occurred and has talked to a number of witnesses and people who I'm sure Alexis.
But I got people there.
Yeah, and that includes who we're talking to right now, Blake, who you were inside. We actually talked with him, Shannon, earlier when you were doing special coverage. You were up on the stage, we grabbed you up, and then we all got pushed out by Secret Service. But walk me through what happened. You were really close. You're a delegate for former President Trump, so you were pretty close to that stage. What'd you hear?
Well, I was listening to him. He was talking, and I think he had the slide up on the big screen about how immigration has increased under Biden. And as I was watching him, I heard what I thought were just a noise. I was hoping it was a joke. I didn't know if it was fireworks or what. It seemed to be coming from my left. So I turned to my left, and I'm just going to turn this off here. All right, no, let's let go. Sorry.
I'll send it to you in your inbox. I'll send it to you.
Turned to my left when I heard the sound, and didn't see anything. When I looked back towards the president, the Secret Service was actively tackling him to the ground. And at that point, I began to hear some other sounds, and I said, okay, this is gunfire. And I think then I did duck down.
Send it to you.
I didn't dive on the ground, but I did duck down, and then it seemed like it stopped. And then I got up and was just trying to pay attention to what had happened to the president.
When he came back up before he gave that fist pump and then was taken off the stage, it looked like he possibly had some blood, as you mentioned too before, right on his ear. I mean, what did you exactly see, and how much blood did you see?
Not a lot. I mean, kind of like where maybe you cut your head, and it did not seem to be coming from his ear. It seemed to be coming from above his ear. But it could have been he could have been tackled in such a way that he cut himself. It could be Secret Service agents' blood on their hands that got transferred to him. I didn't know what it was, but it didn't appear to be overly serious when taken in combination with his defiant attitude and his fist pump. Yeah, I think he wanted to let us know he was all right.
How shocked were you? I mean, you're getting ready to go to the RNC. I mean, everyone's mind was on the excitement at that rally, and then you hear these pops, and it's, what a lot of people was their biggest fear when they come to a big event like this.
Well, I can't say it's one of mine.
All right, darling. I'll talk to you later. I'm sending something controversial.
Politically in this country, I am not one who thinks that we're on the verge of hostilities. I didn't think that I would ever see anything like this happen. And even like my initial reaction was, it's a joke, it's a prank. And it was only when I saw the actions being taken by the Secret Service that it became apparent that it wasn't.
They were able to move in pretty quickly. You could see the snipers up on the roof. At this point, we're hearing that the possible, suspect or person is was killed, and then a person also that was at the rally was killed.
I'm sorry about one. I'm not sorry about the other. Tremendous wake-up call for our country. We can't. This can't be condoned. It can't be tolerated. And we have a very open society.
We said the Secret Servant, even they take up the act, even take up Trump act. Lord
should never
Jesus,
include violence. Never. Any groups that espouse violence, there should be no tolerance for it.
Last thing, when people were moving out before the Secret Service cleared us out too, did you talk to anybody and kind of what are people out here saying? Are they nervous? Are they scared?
Very many people were upset. I had the whole gamut of emotions, from being upset to prayer to concern to anger to shock. I think I saw it all.
Are you going to the RNC still?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I fully expect to see President Trump on the stage on Thursday accepting the nomination.
Okay, thank you for talking to us. I'm glad you're okay. So that's what we're hearing out here on the ground, but definitely many people are still shaken up, as you can expect, trying to figure out what happened. And we also have the mayor, Bill, if you guys want me to talk with him right now. The mayor, I know you guys were trying to get him earlier.
Yeah,
I think they were talking to you on the phone.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from him.
All right, so tell me, you were up on the stage, you were near the former president. What happened?
I was actually with the president about 15, 20 minutes before that awful thing occurred. And my wife and I and my family were seated front row. I just left the stage, and obviously a complete 180. We all came in here with smiles and hope for the future. And
all right, guys, I'm gonna say my goodbyes. I'll be right back.
Right now is that this is representative of the
okay, I'll be right back.
A lot of people in the United States seem to have for people with conservative ideals and principles behind them.
Red carpet start.
And I'm sorry that it's
Let me put it on the TV.
Where were you standing when the former president ended up
hitting the ground? Let me put it on the TV so no can see.
Was Donald's there? I was standing right on the barrier.
Oh no, hold on, let me get the TV ready.
And
make one see red carpet.
I heard that first crack. I started to look around. I thought it couldn't possibly have been around. I thought for sure it might have been a firecracker. But I looked at my wife, who's a state police officer. I pushed her down to the ground. On the second one, it sounded to me like it might have been a 22 round or something similar to it. I asked her if she thought it sounded like a 22. She said yes. We just yelled for everybody to get down on the ground and to stay down to allow the Secret Service and law enforcement to do what it is they had to do. We weren't really quite sure what was happening. And unfortunately, just a few feet behind me, there was an unfortunate individual who lost his life to this maniac.
Did you see the person who was shot?
I did see some of that. Of course, I didn't actually see the shot itself, but I did.
So you turn around, so you push your wife down, you look around for your family, you take cover yourself, you see the president get back up, give that fist pump, you turn around and you see somebody in the crowd had been shot.
They were shot, and they were on the bleachers, and it was just a really sad thing to witness. And unfortunately, I understand that individual lost their life.
Was it a man? Was it a woman? What did you see?
Guys, over page they run the red carpet.
He was shot, and very sad just to witness that. I can't think or imagine what his friends and family must be feeling right now, thinking he was coming here to come and enjoy a day with fellow Republicans, and would end up losing his life. And my thoughts and my prayers go out to his family.
You know all the local officials. I mean, this was federal, state, local. We're all out here responding to this, and they responded quick. Have you heard from any of your partners in the law enforcement area here in Butler County, and what are they saying?
I've heard from a couple individuals, but I just want to say, unfortunately this time I don't want to comment on anything I might have heard, because I don't want anything to be shared that might make it more difficult for law enforcement professionals to get to the bottom of it, and I certainly don't want to make their job any harder. So, at this time I'm going to say that I know everything that you know, ma'am, and we'll keep it at that.
But you are hearing that it was definitely gunshots that were fired.
That's what I'm hearing, and from my own experience, and I did spend some time in the Marine Corps. My wife is a police officer. My father-in-law is a retired police officer. My brother-in-law is a police officer, and we know the sound of gunfire when we see it. And from what I witnessed and the blood on the ground, it seems that certainly is the case. And it's just a disgusting thing to have had to happen today.
This was a huge day for you. It was the mayor of a tiny area here to have a big rally in Butler County. You were excited to have the former president out here. Did you get to talk to him much?
I did. I got to spend a few minutes with him, and I was elated just to have been able to talk with him, my wife and I, again, just 15, 20 minutes before the shots were fired. And we had a pleasant conversation, and he was kind enough to even say that I watched you, and you did a good job. And I thought, wow, how great that was, that feel.
Yeah, it's.
What YouTube? I don't want Netflix.
I know. I'm trying to see if it works. It's not working.
All right. Guys, I'll talk to you later. Yeah. Hello? Eh? Yeah, all right. Can't get something on this one.
The backside. Watch out, I'm gonna show the Rolls Royce, the backside. You're dead. Come keep fearing. Them and say them a listen for you for answer and clap back. You're dead. Them a dashboard Pantina.
That's us.
Watch out.
And it's not that we don't think he's brilliant. Oh, no, we admire your work immensely. It's just all that stuff.
Guys, later.